Welcome everybody. This is Division 1 action now from the X-Mage League Week 5. It's myself versus Oliver King. You can see the all-time record there is 0-4. I've never beaten Oliver. Here's a game record of 8-3 against me, so I don't even win that many games. Hoping to make it first time for everything, because you can see Oliver sits on top of the division of 35 points. Myself, 27, is still in striking distance, but with only 3 weeks to go, I need to get a solid result here, or it's season over. Oliver's playing this white aggro deck. Myself, I'm playing it's an Esper midrange that I copied from SCG White Derby. I just thought it looked really fun to play. I sort of switched between this and a Grixis Drake's deck, and I find this deck quite fun. I jammed the Thief of Sanity because I know his deck only plays 4 Conclave Tribunals main deck, so if he wants to tap out here, he can if he wants. But I'm kind of betting that he doesn't have the removal. Offering a trade there with the Tithe Taker, I'm not really interested. You can see I got 2 Hostage Takers. These are going to be really good for just cleaning up these tokens from the History of Benalia. Tithe Taker is not really fantastic for me because Oliver doesn't do anything on my turn. So I'm just gonna take down these tokens because my Hostage Taker can just effectively block the Tithe Taker. The thing I've got to consider here is that if I do block the Tithe Taker, it dies. It gives him a 1/1 flyer, so my Thief of Sanity cannot connect. So at this stage, when I got 16 life, my main thought process is just to keep jamming Thief and getting an extra card every turn, because I'm kind of settled in here. I think we're going to get bunked in for the long haul, and I believe that my deck can grind his out better than he can grind me out, simply for the fact that I've got a number of flyers and I can generate card advantage from Thief of Sanity. So you can see here, Felix, nice. I think I do this every single video call Oliver Felix at some point, but you can see here Oliver, he likes to think long and hard about his turns. This is sped up to 2 times as well, so I tried to edit out a few of these long gaps. But he's sitting on 4 cards with 4 mana open, so he's obviously got something to do. He's going to go for the second history. So my thinking here, you can see he's got the City's Blessing now, is that Hostage Taker is, I can come down. I'm going to play the Dovin to get the Hero of Precinct 1, because the token can just be a chump blocker. I'm going to draw a card from the Thief. My thinking here is that Hostage Taker can take down a token, one of the Night tokens, because it never comes back. And once it's on the battlefield, then it's just a basic 2/3. It's not doing anything else, so I can just chump block all day. So you can see my Hostage Taker that's on there now. It took a token before, so I can. I'm a bit surprised he took the Hostage Taker there. That's a pretty aggressive move. I thought he would have shut down my card engine from Thief, but he wants to kind of push damage. I'm at 11. At this stage, I have to start worrying about my life total, but I'm not sort of dead yet. Thief of Sanity connecting for a Deputy of Detention would be an awesome play here. Get 3 knights with it. But I also have to consider I'm down to 2 life, so I'm not dead at this point. I can actually play 2, 4. He's got 7 coming across. So what I can do is to Hostage Taker away one of the threats. I'm going to play a Legion's Landing that I stole from him. That's going to give me 1 blocker. Hostage Taker will actually give me 2, because I get the Hero of Precinct 1 trigger. But the problem is, you can see there, I've tapped out, so I can't play anything else. So I take the Knight as 2, 4, 5. And the Hostage Taker gives me the blocker. It's going to remove 1 blocker. I remove the Deputy of Detention so I can get back my Hostage Taker, which takes down his Knight permanently. So he doesn't have a deputy of detention. So now 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. You can see I've got 6 blockers. Massive misplay there. I forgot about Dovin Barn. I should have minused him and made an extra blocker. It would have made a huge difference because deputy's going to clear the way and he's going to push the extra damage. If I'd remembered the Dovin trigger, I would have survived this turn. And he's going to win. Oliver's going to take game 1. I mean, I think he still had that match, but I could have at least seen my next card. Game 2 here, I don't think I change up too much sideboard wise because even though I lost game 1, I still think I do alright. Perhaps bring in a Settle the Wreckage if I had one. I kind of suspect Settle the Wreckage is on his radar as well to try, because in these mirrors, kind of mid-range creature mirrors, I think I've got the advantage because I can fly over the top of him with a number of my creatures, but I mean, the board looks bad at the moment. He's actually only got 2 that can do damage, so at this point I'm just going to hold off. I was keeping that open to see if there's going to be an Ixalan's the 1 mana enchantment. So this is a nice deputy. It's going to get 2 Snubhorn Sentries, and suddenly he's got a pretty empty board. You can see I've got another deputy in hand as well. And Oliver missed his 3rd land drop there, which was huge. So I'm going for the Basilica Bellhaunt because it's going to push extra. It's going to make him discard a card. I probably should have gone for a Seraph of the Scales because it can fly. Here's a History of Benalia. So I'm lining this up nicely here. I'm going to play Lyra Dawnbringer because I want to save the deputy to get the 2 knights, and then so the history becomes useless. Now I don't know how he's going to deal with Lyra. He can use Tribunal, but I can get that back. But you can see there when he plays the Benelish Marshal, he obviously doesn't have an answer. Or now he does, it's a Conclave Tribunal. But again, I've got Mortify and I've also got the Deputy, so I can get something back with the Deputy if I wanted to. And Mortify was just the perfect draw there because I was going to have to choose between the Deputy and I was going to have to choose between the Deputy on the Conclave or on the Knights. So I can take down the Knights. I'm happy to take a hit of 3 here. I can even just block because that Deputy's just a crappy chump blocker now. And I'm setting up an ambush in combat where I can wait for him to swing something decent and then mortify the Conclave, get back my Lyra Dawnbringer, and it'd be a bit of a blowout. So he's going to go for the Deputy, get back the 2 Snubhorns, which you can see with the City's Blessing now. 4/4s, it's no joke. But again, it is going to set up, as you can see I just chump block because that guy's useless. I was going to say it's going to set up a very nice ambush, but it's not going to anymore because of that Venerated Loxodon. Thief of Sanity is super nice, but I'm just playing defense. At this stage, this is going to be a nice ambush because I don't think he's going to swing the Benelish anyway with Basilica Bellhaunt there. So here they all come. I don't believe he has any answer to this in instant speed combat, so my Lyra is safe at this point. I take down the Venerated Loxodon just in case I draw another guy that can exile. I can get both those Snubhorns and at least get the counters off them. Now, Seraph of the Scales is huge here. This is a creature that I was never impressed with until I played with it. Particularly in the current meta, its Death Touch ability is huge. So I'm getting aggressive now because he's got nothing viable on the crackback. So I actually have lethal on board, but you can see he's got that 1 card in hand. So I'm just going to swing 1 because I suspect it's a Settle the Wreckage. So I'm playing around Settle the Wreckage here. At this stage, I don't think there's any way back for him. He's got 2 cards in hand. Oliver notorious for liking to play it out rather than just concede. So this is lethal right here. This is another test case, and it's not there. The settle's not there. And it's kind of an interesting one, because if the board is a hopeless state for him, if he had the settle, he might not even play it just to disguise it for game 3. So it's something that I keep in mind. What I mean by that is the settle would have bought him a turn, but did he have anything else that he could have drawn that could have won him the game from there? I don't think so, with a Lyra and another 5/4 flyer sitting on the board. So down comes my thief. This card is just an absolute house. I have to do something here about this Legion's Landing that's going to flip, but at the same time, I don't really care too much about Legion's Landing, because if he wants to use all his mana making a 1/1 each turn, I don't mind, because I'm going to be flying over and doing damage. To card Leona Guard, I don't know why he bought that in. I don't really have any enter the battlefield cantrips. I try to play Benelish Marshal, reveal that I've got it, but I realise it's a black source, not a white one. You can see I've got plenty of chumps here, but at 15 life I can kind of it's not dire at this stage. I just give up one of my heroes. And now those are only 3/3, so if I can get something to get that Benelish Marshal off the battlefield, it would be very nice. Snubhorn Sentry is going to be a very nice blocker for me. And Disdainful Stroke was an interesting one that he's got there. Basilica Bellhorn is excellent, because it's going to serve as a pretty decent body to stop those knights, unless he gets another Benelish Marshal. But he does not. So Thought Erasure now. He's got one card left in hand. How aggressive can I get? Let's have a look. It's only a plane, so I can go for it now. And at this point, I think I've got this match won. I mean, he's at 19, but my Thief of Sanity is just going to take over this match. I go for the Benelish Marshal because I realise I could have actually played it before, because I don't need the white mana. When it was taken by the Thief, you can use any mana. So he's just going to build his board wider and wider, which I don't really care, because Thief is just flying over. Venerated Loxodon is very tempting here. Seraph of the Scales is also going to fly over. So I have to be a bit kind of conservative with these, with how I tap those, because I have to be wary of like another Benelish Marshal that could potentially cause a blowout. So I just bring in a chump blocker there. But you can see again he's just tapping these, like I mentioned before, these 1/1 vampires. I've still got the Conclave Tribunal. I've got lethal on board next turn. I'm going to get my own Legion's Landing. I can flip this card as well, because I got the white mana to actually use it. And at this point, with 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 creatures, I've actually just got lethal with a full swing here. He just tests the Water of 2. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll take. Now, I'm kind of just wary, again, like before, of Settle the Wreckage. He's playing Venerated Loxodon purely as a blocker, which kind of suggests to me he doesn't have Settle, or he's trying to bluff pretty well, and it's a pretty good bluff. He's up to 10 life. I swing both again. If this is... so now I'm just going to send enough to draw out blocks, and obviously to flip my Settle, because he's going to... So what I'm trying to do there is just to entice him with an attack that's good enough to bring out a Settle the Wreckage. But that was not. I think I take a baffling end here because the bodyguard's no good because it protects against dying, but actually his threats would exile, his removal would exile, not die. So he's absurdly dead at this point. Passes, and that's the game.